Hello ladies, are you getting heart palpitations or a fluttering heart or that feeling that your heart is racing and pounding and it really scares you because it is a bit scary. You don't know whether it is particularly a heart issue or what's going on, and particularly if it's part of perimenopause and menopause, then you're wondering why this is happening. So ladies, you are not alone because so many women actually experience these symptoms of palpitations or a fluttering heart at some stage during midlife. And it happened to me, and I had it for a very short time, and I worked out exactly why it was happening to me. And it's happened to many of my clients over the years. Now, I've been a naturopath for over 26 years now, and so you can imagine I've seen thousands and thousands of clients, and particularly in midlife, I've seen women having these issues, and I could say that I've narrowed it down with those clients to a few particular issues that actually are contributing to these heart palpitations. Now, what I see particularly is when the progesterone drops, and this is more prevalent in perimenopause, then our inflammation can increase. So it can be that lowering of the progesterone, which happens through perimenopause and menopause, but that particularly has an influence when the progesterone drops on the whole nervous system. So the nervous system becomes imbalanced. And the progesterone has a big influence on other parts of the body too. It increases inflammation. It also has an influence on your thyroid gland. And one of the biggest things I see is subclinical hypothyroidism, where it doesn't necessarily have to show up on a blood test, a pathology test, even though that's one snapshot in time. So if you get a blood test back from the doctor and they say it's all okay, then it may not be like that all the time. It's fluctuating like your hormones are fluctuating. And there is something called subclinical hypothyroidism where you will get symptoms and it may not be showing up on a blood test. And this can mean that it's in with the reference ranges and you're getting symptoms such as heart palpitations, racing heart, fatigue, anxiety, sleeping issues. You might be putting on weight. You might be getting drier skin or changes in the digestive system, and a whole load more when it comes to thyroid issues. Depending on what sort it is, it can be also autoimmune like thyroiditis or Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Then you can get things like the heart palpitations as well, but hair loss also, and it can fluctuate between high and low thyroid. But what I'm trying to say is that it can show up as a slightly underactive thyroid in the early stages where it doesn't show up on a blood test. So I see that quite regularly, that the thyroid will influence your heart rate, and it will also can cause these palpitations randomly, but it can be nervous system related as well. But the other biggest thing I see is to do with histamine. Now, histamine sensitivity is more prevalent in midlife, and I have had that myself, and I see it with so many people that it's becoming more and more common that there's either histamine overload or sensitivity, or that person's already got MCAS or mast cell activation syndrome if they've got endometriosis or PCOS or polycystic ovary syndrome or adenomyosis. Then they're more likely to have mast cell activation syndrome already and more sensitive to histamine. So histamine can definitely make your heart race and give you this fluttering, racing feeling. So it can be because of stress and other reasons why the histamine is increasing in the body and you're not eliminating it efficiently, or it can be to do with some of the foods you're eating. So histamine and thyroid are probably the two biggest issues I see, and this dysregulated nervous system and inflammation increasing because of the drop in progesterone. But it can also be electrolyte imbalances as well, because the electrolytes actually help regulate your heart rhythm. And if there is a load of stress in your life, or there's some sort of issue with nutrient deficiencies and you're not digesting your foods efficiently and the electrolytes drop, then this also can cause an issue. And electrolytes are things like magnesium, potassium, sodium and calcium. So it can be very common that these minerals are depleted through times of stress and inflammation, or extreme busyness, or that you're not getting it through diet, or there's a bit of malabsorption through the digestive system also. So that's another real big one. So what I'd recommend that you can do to help reduce these palpitations and this heart racing feeling, is firstly, make sure, eliminate or rule out that there is anything serious going on. So see a doctor, they may refer you to a cardiologist, and you just want to get it checked out if it's been going on for a long time. That's the first thing. And if that's all ruled out, then you can put it down to the hormones, the thyroid, the electrolyte imbalance, the histamine issues, and the nervous system imbalance, and then you need to be working on these. So you might want to look at firstly reducing stress and doing some deep breathing and meditation and making sure your stress levels are lower in your life. This can go a long way to helping calm these down. And maintaining your electrolytes. So you might take electrolytes, particularly magnesium can be very important, and most people are deficient in magnesium. And then even balancing the blood sugar levels. When blood sugar levels are more imbalanced, then this can also cause these issues. So making sure you're having really stable blood sugar levels throughout the day, eating regularly, and making sure you're having good, adequate protein at every meal to keep your blood sugar levels stable. So this is what I would start with. And if you would like more information, you can also download my free guide, which will talk through steps you can nurture and nourish your adrenals and nervous system. And I'll put the link below. It's called Ditch the Hormone Drama, and that can go a long way of getting you started feeling better and with all the other symptoms you may be experiencing in perimenopause and menopause. So I'll put the link below. And if you have any questions, please comment. If you haven't subscribed, click subscribe, and I'll see you around again very soon. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.